Hey everybody! This time on Jenny's Way, Jessica Yarbrough joins me. Jessica is the business strategist who specializes in taking micro startups to the next level, one step at a time. She's skilled in getting teams to crank up brilliance in the basics, and I'm sure she can help you. Get comfy. This is going to be awesome. Hi, I want to welcome Jessica Yarbrough, top business strategist for coaches and consultants, to Janie's Way. I'm so excited to be able to have a conversation with you and bringing your expertise and wisdom to our listeners on Janie's Way.
Thank you for having me.
Jessica, for people who are not familiar with you and your story, can you give a snapshot how it started? How did you get into entrepreneurship, and how you led to what you do right now?
Great question. Well, my background was in business. I managed several companies. I built a startup here in San Diego. I took about a 4-year break to do a spiritual journey and travel all over the world. And about 10 years ago, I started back consulting, kind of doing done-for-you marketing campaigns. But even though I was good at it, it wasn't really fulfilling. The real fulfillment comes from working with people and making an impact directly in their lives versus being behind the scenes. And there's the old adage, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. So about 8 years ago, I transitioned out of kind of being behind the scenes into coaching, mentoring, and doing direct strategy for coaches and consultants who want to scale their business.
That's awesome. What's the most exciting part of what you're doing right now?
It always comes down to watching the breakthrough that happens when people step into their value. We are blind to our innate genius. Most of the clients that come to me are established, so they're making 200, 300, 400, 500,000 a year, but they're stuck and they don't know why. They have some suspicion that they may be undercharging. And so to take someone who maybe has sold their biggest package for 15,000 and help them really understand their genius and how to put together a solution and sell it for 200,000-300,000 it's amazing. It's such a gift to be able to see people blow their own minds with what's possible to create in their life and in their business.
That's very exciting. Oh, wow. What kind of mindset does consultant and coaches needs to have to be able to get through that jump, like you were saying? It's a big jump, and it could be scary.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. What I like to think of is we all have a reference point of what we believe is possible in our minds, right? And this is a self-imposed limitation. I was talking with my clients the other day on a call, and I said, it was a group of women on this particular call, and I said, you go in the corporate world and you always talk about the man who puts the ceiling and holds you back, but then you take that ceiling with you into entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship, there is no ceiling. The only limits that exist are the ones you put on yourself. And so we all have a reference point of what's possible, and that reference point is going to be what we have sold in the past, right? That's what we think we're capable of. We might have hired a coach or seen coaches that charge a little bit more, and you're like, I think this is possible. And so the possibility is there, but you have to be able to step into that possibility, and you need to partner with someone that knows how to help you from a mindset level, but also from a strategy. Because I always say, and mindset is a big part of my program, but I always say, like, the fastest path to prove to your subconscious mind who's saying you can't do this, that you can do it, is to actually do it, right? Because when you have a strategy and you know how to go in there and present what you do in a really powerful, concise way, and you know how to pitch and you close that first big deal, there's nothing to argue with. All the doubts that your mind put on you, you can't do this, no one's going to pay me enough, I'm not worthy, I don't know enough, I need to get 5 more certifications, I need 100 more coaching hours, like all of that gets really quiet because the proof is there. The contract is there, the money is there. That's not to say they still don't go like through some kind of disbelief process. When somebody sells a mega deal, it might take them weeks to adjust to the fact that they just did this, but it excites them. And the only thing they ever say to me is, Jessica, I wish I would have done this sooner. Because no one's going to volunteer to pay you more money. No one's going to say, hey, you're undercharging us. Can I pay you more? No one is going to give you your possibility. Like, you have to see it, and then you have to execute and step into it and own it and shatter any ceilings that you're putting on yourself.
Sounds like it's the combination between the mindset and strategy.
100%. You can't have one without the other. And a lot of the content, when I'm talking about on LinkedIn or YouTube, 80% of what I talk about is strategy. I talk very little about mindset. And that's because mindset is really something we do once you're in the program. But there's a whole journey that you have to go through, an inner journey, to really being able to be a high-end coach, to scale your company. There's a lot of inner game that's involved, definitely.
Mm. What are the biggest limiting beliefs that you had to help your clients with?
You know, in general, when people are stressing around price, right? Like they're not charging enough, it's three things. One, it is some measure of imposter syndrome, though I will say that tends to affect women even more than men, where I don't know enough, can people pay me this, that sort of thing. The second is a lack of awareness of what the market is willing to pay. Like they don't even know that this is possible, that companies are paying coaches and consultants six figures and multi six figures for deals. And then third, they lack the strategy. So that's really the pricing component. But as far as fears and mindsets, I've seen it all come up. I've seen people self-sabotage or start to self-sabotage, and we have to pull them out of it. I've had women have deep concerns about making more than their husband. I've had people have past mindset issues around what their parents gave them, all the old belief systems. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard. It doesn't come easy. There's a lot of things that are passed down generationally as well. And I have a mindset coach who supports my program. So she does a lot of that unwinding, that unraveling of those deep-seated beliefs. And I focus on strategy to, again, prove to the subconscious mind that you can do it by actually just doing it. So it's a combo.
Interesting. So you have someone else that does the part of mindset work.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I talk about mindset a lot in my trainings because, the reason why people pay me is they want me to be honest with them, right? Jessica, just tell me what to do. So if I'm in a group call and I see where somebody says, hey, Jessica, I didn't follow up with this prospect like I was supposed to, I'm going to go deep into mindset about why that happened. But at my heart, like my truth is I'm a strategist. Mindset will always come into play. But, my mindset coach is a powerful part of my business. She's been with me for 5 years. And to be able to focus on that inner work and have dedicated time with her outside of business strategy is powerful for clients.
Since you brought up a partnership, can you talk a little bit more about it? How to get the right person to partner with, and what's the logistic, and how people need to pick what's the best way to pick the partner with?
Oh yeah, well she's one of my coaches, so she's not like a business partner.
Oh, okay.
In general, I don't recommend people partnering in business. I've seen it happen so many times. There's a lot of clashing. One person's not pulling their weight. So my business is fully my own. But I do believe that in order to scale your company, absolutely you're going to need a team. And if you want to have a more enriching experience for your clients, then you can't be everything to them. There's certain, like you're an expert in certain things, but you don't need to be everything to everyone. And so bringing in outside experts to fill the gaps to your programs is really powerful. And as far as finding the right people, there are certainly services and agencies that can help you place team members. We partner with a few of them to help our clients as well. But, and then sometimes the best people to hire are ones that you've worked with. Both of the coaches in my program I've personally worked with, and those are my favorite people to hire and to refer, because now I know their work intimately. And again, as far as having the right team members, if you want to have great team members and you want them to stick around, you need to pay them well, and you need to treat them well. So like with my team, I'm very generous. I take my team on a all-inclusive wellness retreat. We do that every other year. So it's all about, if you have good people and you want them to stick with you for the long term, take care of your people, and get them invested in your business and in your vision and your mission, and they'll love you and they'll stay with you for a long time.
That's great. I'm glad you brought up the team. It's important to build up the team. And when do you know it's time to start building the team?
Well, you're going to feel the need. If you're stuck at the center of the business and you can no longer do more to make more, right? You're going to have to start adding team members. And usually, you'll add a team member, let's say around 200,000, you usually feel another need between 350 and 500,000. As you get closer to high six figures to 7, you're going to feel another team member. So it really just depends on the capacity of your different team members, and how much you want to do or how much you want to offload. But you can actually run a really successful business, meaning a multi-7-figure business with a fairly lean team, as long as you've got people that are experts in the different areas that you need support.
That's a great point. So it depends on the team members and depend where you're at with your journey of your scaling.
Yeah, and also your strengths. If I have a team member or a client who comes in and they're scattered, they're not organized, they don't document anything, then they need an operations person in their business, right? Like that's a first hire that they're going to need, versus someone who may be more organized. That may not be their hire. Maybe they don't need an operations person. They need marketing support. They need people who are going to support with their visibility campaigns. So it's also going to depend on your strengths and your struggles in the business, who you're going to hire first. But strategically, you can put team members in place. We know who to hire and what to hire them for and when. And then, of course, as a business owner, you want to continually be investing back into your business and adding team members that are going to support growth and allow you to focus on what you do best, drive vision of your organization, and serve your clients.
Jessica, how important to build the systems very early on in the business?
I mean, systems are everything. What's that? The author of Atomic Habits, like, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So you can have really ambitious goals. And, sometimes if you're really good at marketing, you can even do like launch, maybe you generate a bunch of money, but if you don't have systems to deliver, that's going to be a problem. It's going to come back to bite you. So systems are really important. However, I feel like if you're under 300,000, I would say it's less important, only because you're still in almost like, I don't know if the word is surviving, because for some people 300,000 might be a lot of money, but you're not experiencing freedom yet, right, at that level. If you're making low six figures, you're still caught in I'm having sales calls, I'm delivering, I'm getting the next thing. You're still really caught up in the weeds. Where systems come into play, especially more sophisticated systems, is really that journey from like 350, 400,000 to $1 million. And that's when you can get really deep into project management, task, and really dial it in. If you spend too much time on systems prematurely, and I don't mean just operation systems, but like marketing systems, oftentimes those will end up changing, right? Like your messaging changes. Okay, you're not using that opt-in, that funnel anymore. This changes, that changes. So then I remember when I first started out, I had like 20 funnels, and I ended up deleting all but like 2 of them as my business grew. So sometimes when you're a newer to entrepreneurship, you can get too caught up and feeling like you have to have this sophisticated machine that you may not quite be ready for. And that may not be what drives you to the next level of growth.
That's good. What about the funnels? I'm pretty sure you were doing that because you were experimenting, but now you have the experience. I don't think you would recommend the clients to have 20 funnels. It sounds a little overwhelming.
I definitely would not. I used to have a very different business model, and I came across a quote by Steve Jobs: with focus and simplicity, you can move mountains. And that quote completely changed my business model because I had way too much going on. I had too many funnels, I had too many offers, I was exhausted, I was making good money, but on the verge of burnout. And I saw that quote and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. My business isn't simple. It's not focused. So what do I really want to do? And I literally got out those giant post-it note stickies and I started mapping out like, what is my real strength? What do I want to focus on? And I redesigned my entire business model and I was able to scale it versus what I was trying to do before. Could I have scaled? Probably. Would I have burned out along the way? Absolutely. So keep it simple, keep it focused, and don't get distracted.
Distraction is a major hurdle for a lot of people because it's like, oh, what if I do this? What if I do this?
It is a really fast path to hinder your growth. And look, I get it. Like, we're entrepreneurs, we get excited about new things. But if you think about it, it's constant. It's like AI, replace your sales teams, or Clubhouse, whatever happened to that, Threads, summits, like people jump on these bandwagons. And it's not to say that there's not valid strategy and growth with each of those, but does it make sense for your business right now? In fact, I was just thinking about the AI sales calls. I got like 2 in the last week from AI. They've replaced the people and I can't stand it. I'm like, please stop replacing your salespeople with AI. We're not there yet. There's delays. It's frustrating. It feels super fake. I'm not saying there's not a place for AI. There's certainly great places, but you have to really assess, like, is this the right strategy for my business right now? Is it going to take me to my goals faster, or is it going to take a lot of time to set up? It may or may not work. It distracts me from my goals, where I could be focusing on doing what I know works and get there faster.
You were mentioning summits, AI and such. What do you think about challenges, 3-day challenges, 5-day challenges?
I mean, they absolutely work. I personally won't touch them. I did challenges before and they are exhausting. So I personally haven't launched in years, probably 4 or 5 years since I did a big launch. I just kind of got off of that train, and I don't encourage my clients to launch except maybe once when we're pivoting them to a new market. And then if they want to do a launch once a year, that's fine and we can streamline it. But in general, my goal was to build an expert business where I drew clients to me, and it was an evergreen model, meaning rolling enrollment. People can come anytime. I'm not a fan of challenges. I don't participate in them. And when I ran them, it was not fun for me. So I'm not trying to have an event where I add 20, 30 people at once. It's not my business model. I don't have a mass market model, and I feel like challenges work well for mass market models where you're trying to go big, get 1,000 people to join, enroll 100 of them. And that's not my model. We work with a really select number of clients every year, and so challenges don't make sense for my business model.
That's a very big distinction there. Excellent point. Jessica, what things you do to keep yourself grounded? Is there a certain morning routine, evening routines, something you do during the day?
Definitely meditation, beginning and end of every day. You can think of it as bookends, to your day. That's the first thing I'll do, like even just lying in bed, is a quick meditation. Regular exercise. I live in San Diego. The weather's beautiful here, 90% of the time. And just going for walks, something so simple, is very grounding, and being in nature. Those are probably the 2 biggest things that keep me grounded. And my kid keeps me grounded too. Children definitely have a way of, grounding you.
What are your passions?
My passions is definitely entrepreneurship. I'm also very passionate about health and fitness. I do work out all the time. Travel is really big for me. We were talking about that before we hit record. I like to travel all over the world, and I have an RV that I purchased, so I like to go to national parks. So we'll do like the bougie vacations with planes and cruises ships and, touring around Europe. But then, I mean, I have just as much fulfillment, honestly, from getting in our RV, going to, Yosemite and, being in nature with waterfalls and simple hiking, building a fire. Both of those, I find a lot of joy in both of them.
Interesting. I feel the same way. I like the expensive vacations, like at the resorts and all-exclusive resort, and that I enjoy the just kind of simple things, being in the nature around the fire. So I feel the same way. And I like the music, and that's one of my passions. I like to dance. Zumba is one of the things I love to do.
Yeah, music's awesome.
So what if we have a coach that I'm doing everything I can. I'm on social media every day and I'm just pulling my hair and not knowing why am I not even getting maybe 1 or 2 likes and that's it. What would you advise them?
Well, I would say, a couple of it could be anything, right? Number one, are you where your ideal clients are, right? Most of my clients come from LinkedIn. That is because I primarily work with B2B coaches and consultants. So that's where I focus my time. It doesn't mean that I couldn't do well on Instagram. It doesn't interest me. Like most of my clients are like 40 to 65 and they're sell to organizations. So, are you where your ideal clients are hanging out? That would be number one. 2, is it like a message market fit? Like, do you have a compelling solution? Is it clear what you do? I would say that 90% of the coaches and consultants that come to me have a fundamental communication issue. Like they are missing the mark. Like they do good work, they've gotten results, but when it comes to communicating that into the world, they really fall short. So oftentimes it could be a communication issue. And then as far as content, that could be a wide range. Is your content good? Is it persuasive? Is it boring? Is it too academic? Are you talking over people's head? I see a lot of this on LinkedIn as well. People are just sharing inspirational quotes, but I don't know anything about what that person does. So again, is your marketing compelling enough that you're getting into the head of your ideal client? There's a psychological component to it so much that they feel compelled to click on that link and download that resource or book a call. So the marketing strategy, oftentimes when people aren't getting results on social media, we have to go deeper and look at, the fundamental problems associated with that pain of I'm not getting engagement or I'm not getting leads, because it's usually just a symptom of a much bigger problem.
Messaging is very important. And
Messaging is important. Messaging is more important than engagement. People harp on about engagement all the time, but I will tell you that some of my most highest converting content did not get a ton of engagement. Because if I triggered someone, if I spoke to their pain, no one's going to want to like that. You're correct. But I have actual posts where people have directly booked calls with me and they say they saw this post. And I think, well, that didn't get a lot of engagement, but it got me 2 clients. So take your engagement with a grain of salt. It's not the tell-all indicator. I care more about qualified sales calls coming in from content than I do how many people liked it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's actually an excellent point. I feel like lately, everybody obsessed about the engagement, but that was an excellent distinction, what you just mentioned. You can have I've talked with one of my other guests, and it gave me an example of somebody had 1 million followers, but no sales, or one sale or something.
What, you bring up a good point, and I'll tell you, I've had clients. So if you're out there and you're a coach or consultant and you're comparing yourself to someone, know that you don't really know what's going on in their business. I've had clients come to me with 1 million followers making less than 200,000 a year. I've had clients come to me with less than 1,000 followers online that had $1 million business.
Wow.
Right? Their entire business was word of mouth, referral, local networking. They didn't have the online presence. So you have to take things with a grain of salt. When I look at someone's social media, I really don't know what's going on. And that's why I want them to fill out an application. I want to know details about what's happening in their business. So be careful of comparing like, oh, this person has a big audience or this person's getting 300 likes, because you never know what's really going on in their business. So that story that your other person that you interviewed, like I can totally believe that happening.
So for you all listening to this interview, just remember, just because you have tons of likes doesn't mean that you will be making 500 or 700,000. Doesn't mean anything.
That's right.
That's an excellent distinction.
Yes.
I think sometimes
I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. I'm trying to run a business. Now, if you're wanting to run an influencer business where, you're getting sponsorships and all of that, then yeah, you're going to need big numbers and big engagement. But I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm trying to show up and show people that I'm an expert in what I do and attract the right people who want my help.
That's a big distinction there. Do you want to be an influencer, or do you want to just set yourself as an expert? So if you want to set yourself as an expert, what are the top 3 to 5 strategies you would say?
Well, I'll say number 1 is experts teach. And I think people forget this. Like if you want to build trust, you need to teach. I used to go live. I haven't done it in a really long time because my focus is on putting out, YouTube videos or whatever, if I'm going to do videos. But I used to go live with a whiteboard behind me, and I would just map things out. I'd be like, look, here's 3 steps and 5, and then you do this, this, and this. Man, people's minds were blown. They were booking calls. Why? Because I was teaching them. So if you want to be known as an expert, you need to show us you're an expert by teaching us something new, right? And a great way to do that is with a whiteboard, for example. Another thing you can do is, and it doesn't have to be, by the way, teaching in that way. You can teach through podcasting. You can teach through written articles that you put out, but putting out content that is not just pain-provoking content, but that actually teaches and educates is a great way to, build your expertise. Another thing is leveraging social proof that you already have. If you have client results, most people I know aren't doing a really good job about telling the world how awesome they are in their clients' words. So experts, again, they have a lot of social proof. They have client testimonials, case studies, that sort of thing. Another thing you can do is really work on growing your audience, whether that is adding connections, on LinkedIn that are an ideal client, not just random for the sake of growing, or whether it's tapping into things like what I call OPT, other people's traffic, and going on other people's podcasts or writing for other people's blogs or publications to tap into that ocean and bring those people into your pond and nurture them.
So you're kind of going on there and showing that you know your subject, that you're an expert in whichever form you wanted to do it. When you said whiteboard, it reminded me Dean Graziosi is really big about showing stuff on the whiteboard.
Well, you know why? Because when you write on a whiteboard, whether it's a digital one or a physical one, like immediately you're elevated to the role of teacher. Because we all sat in school at our desk, and when the teacher was writing on, the chalkboard or whatever it may be. So automatically the audience becomes students and you become the teacher when you write something down in front of them.
That's so cool. I'm like, I always wonder. That's one of his favorite things to do. He will write on the whiteboard. He's a teacher.
I love it. He's a teacher.
Yeah. What is the story about your most fun client? Without mentioning the name, couple of clients, if you want. What was the most fun, engaging clients you had?
Oh gosh, I've had awesome clients over the years. My best clients, I think, have been ones that were stuck for years, kind of spinning their wheels in frustration. And they came in and executed and got really big results. I always tell people if you are an action taker and you come in with that mindset of like, I'm here to do the work, because there is work involved, right? Then you will you'll be successful, and then you'll have an incredible experience, and you'll have a lot of fun in the process.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting. That's one of the other underlying themes as well. Yeah, you need to have the strategies, the right mindset, but you have to put in the work.
Absolutely. And if anybody tells you differently, run, right? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, but it does take a lot of work, and it takes grit and determination, and you're going to go through things, that you weren't expecting. It's going to challenge you. And, you just have to be prepared to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going, because no one gets out of here without a few scuffs along the way. Entrepreneurship is, outside of parenthood, because I think that's number one. Number two, entrepreneurship is the second biggest personal development journey you can go on. Like it's a lot. So it's great to surround yourself with mentors or a community that can help you succeed.
Speaking of determination, what other qualities you feel like are needed for entrepreneurs that can conquer anything?
I think it's just commitment. So many people, they have great ideas, but they're not executing, or they're not committed to something. They try something, maybe they launch a podcast, they do 6 episodes, and then they give up, right? They post on LinkedIn for 2 weeks, it doesn't get traction, and they give up. Like, if you want to be successful, you have to commit to doing something for a long time. It's that compounding effect.
Selling and scaling, right? Every single aspect. There's something you can think of, it would blow your mind about how deep we go with our clients, right? You get powerful one-on-one strategy sessions with me and my team. My team has been with me for years.
I don't know what happened. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Looks like something was playing on your phone.
That was you. I was listening.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to your wisdom. I don't know what happened. Did you see me touch anything? That's hilarious.
It's like magic.
Magic. Jessica is here and here. No, he can edit it out. I like to do my homework. So I want to know what the person I'm interviewing, what's the expertise, and so I'm like, wait, what just happened? I'm like,
yeah.
Sorry, we cannot edit it. It's funny. So, Jessica, you mentioned that networking. Do you feel like local networking a good thing to do in addition to everything that you do online? Is that a good strategy to add?
I think it is if it makes sense for your market. Like, if you want to target organizations and you belong to a local networking group of CEOs, then absolutely. It just depends on your personal desire. Do you like doing local marketing, local networking? Do you have the right connections? I know I've had clients who had a lot of success if they're in the right groups. The problem is being in the wrong groups, that can feel like draining or exhausting. So I would do it if it makes sense for your market and with the types of people that you're going to be connecting at those events.
So I believe also one of the conversations that I had, one of the other guest expert, he mentioned that you can't go to just any networking event because it kind of almost can hurt you. Like, maybe they're not even going to be receptive to high offers like this.
Right. You really do. It needs to be the right fit, but I'm telling you, if you can be in a room with 20 or 30 of your ideal clients, like, that is a great opportunity. So I would say pick them, but be intentional. Because I think a lot of them are not viable. They're not good options. So it just needs to be a really good fit.
So it could be a good addition if you had the right networking events.
And if that's a pull for you. For me, I don't want to do that. I am a mom. My daughter's 9. And when I started this business, it was really important to me because I've hired coaches that do 50 events a year, like they go and they're networking all the time. And I said, I absolutely do not want to do that. Like, I want to be able to work from home. I want to be able to work from anywhere in the world. If I want to take my laptop to Europe, or I have a satellite literally for my RV. So it's like, if I want to be able to work from in nature, I didn't want to be tied to going to a lot of events. But some people absolutely love it, and that they thrive in that, and they love those in-person connections. So again, it's just a personal choice, what your strengths are or what your desires are, how you want to design your life. And for me, I just wanted to be have a little bit more freedom and not have to rely. So I chose to to really focus on an online model, and that is my business. It's 90% virtual.
That's good. So if it feels right for you and you're in the right networking event, then it's great. But
Yeah.
if it doesn't produce the desired result or you hate doing it, then don't do it. Like anything
Yeah,
else.
absolutely. Just do what makes sense for you, what makes sense for your family, and if you're someone who's like, I want to be more selective, then choose a couple events that you do every year so that you're really enjoying and maximizing those times.
What would be the steps for people to kind of get out of their head and realizing that, oh, well, I can really do it and I can double or quadruple my sales? What would be the first 3 steps?
I mean, you should hire someone. It doesn't have to be me, but we sometimes feel like one of the biggest traps I see is where people have gotten to a certain level of success and they feel like they can do it on their own. They can get to the next level, but yet they've been stuck at that same level for 3, 5, 10 years. Like, we all need someone outside of us to shine the light on our blind spots and to show us other opportunities. And so I would say number one thing you can do is invest in some type of support. When I decided I wanted to do YouTube, I didn't just go like start making videos, right? I hired a YouTube strategist who was an expert in all things YouTube. That wasn't my expertise. And I had her develop a strategy for the platform, right? So, know what you're good at, but also know what you don't know and be prepared to invest. And then I would say number 2 is execute.
Execution is important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And how do you keep yourself motivated daily? And how do you help your clients to kind of keep executing, like not saying, well, I can do it tomorrow?
Yes. Well, we have accountability built into the program. So whether you're in my program or you're talking about your day-to-day life, like, you need to put some kind of accountability in place for yourself. Because oftentimes we will do the things that are easiest versus tackling the big thing that's hard, but will make the biggest result. I tend to be very disciplined, and I know not everyone is. And I make lists. So I'm a list queen. I make my list. I look at that list and I say, what's the priorities? What can I get done? I pick my top 3 and I knock them out. And then, sometimes things get removed off that list that don't need to be done. They're no longer a priority. So, getting organized, holding yourself accountable, or having an accountability partner, and then getting super duper organized. We have systems and processes and workflows for virtually everything in my company at this point. It took a long time to get there, but the more organized you become, the more successful you're going to become as well.
Like setting up the tasks for every day, top priority, and
Yes.
and the lower priority, so organization.
Organization is key. Do you even just like, where do you store your things? Can you access them easily? And this is where, again, like, more of the internal operations of the business come into play. But again, if you can get really organized, you're going to save so much time and frustration and be able to really streamline the processes in your business.
Yeah, for sure. I know that firsthand. If you're not organized and you can't find something, then it's becoming a problem for sure. Yeah. You need to know where everything is and have all of your CRM in place, so you have it super organized. How would you know who to follow up?
Exactly.
How do you know when did you talk with them last time? What did you all talk about?
Exactly. You have to document.
You can't. Some people think that they can remember everything, but I don't think so. You need to still document stuff.
You need to document. My team always jokes that we document like nurses because two of my people that in my team, one of them was a former nurse and one of them went to nursing school and almost completed. So both of them are extremely good at documenting everything. And we always joke that we're like nurses.
Oh, good. Then I should be really good at it because I'm a registered nurse by trade.
Oh, I'm sure you're good at note taking and documenting. Yeah, you're trained, right, to do that.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting to me. I had a couple of conversations with nurses. That one became a legal nurse consultant, and the other one more into natural medicine. And then we compared the training of nursing. That's so interesting you brought it up. They're comparing training in nursing and the writing the care plans for the patients and taking notes. How that we can relate to business, and
Absolutely.
nobody would think that. But that's kind of translate to the skills that we have learned. We can translate them into other areas, and people I think sometimes forget that.
Absolutely. Yeah. My client success person, was a former nurse and she's really good at creating that their client journey, right? And supporting them along the way. So that I can definitely see the parallels.
And compassion and kind of listening
All of it.
and
Just being
therapeutic
kind, just bright
communication.
smile. Yeah. She's got all
Uh-huh.
that.
Uh-huh. Uh, when you were early on in your career, when you didn't know what you're doing or what to do, how would you handle it? How did you overcome this?
Uh, trial and error, not being afraid to fail forward. I failed a lot. I think people forget that you're going to fail. I put together webinars that flopped, made one sale. I spent tens of $1,000s on ads that did nothing for the business. I created funnels I didn't use. I hired agencies that did okay work, but not great. I mean, it's all part of the process. And I think the faster you can move beyond your mistakes, the more successful you'll be. Try it. It didn't work. Next. Don't get it caught up in it. Don't make yourself feel bad about it. I had a client say to me today, man, I just think about all the money I've left on the table. It's a very common thing people say to me. All these years, all this money I could have made. I said, there's nothing you can do about the past. You learned, you did what you did. Now there's a different way. You can only change what's going forward. So don't beat yourself up about it. Let it go, move on. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and keep moving forward. It's just part of life.
It's part of their journey. I bet you they learned something that they can take it in there today, learning and improve what they're doing today. Hopefully.
Oh, I always say, what do they say? Hindsight's 2020. And when you're going through a hard time, you're frustrated. You're like, I don't know why I'm going through this. Well, that may not be revealed to you in that moment. And it might be 6 months. It might be 6 years later. You say, aha, and you kind of chuckle. That's why I had that lesson. I needed to have it because I'm going to need it in this moment, whether it's to avoid that mistake happening again or making a decision at the fork road, or maybe it's your client is going through something and you're like, I already went through that. Let me save you that time and frustration. That is why I went through this, a year ago.
It's what's to say? It's not what happens to you, how you react.
Absolutely. That's right.
And every day when we wake up, I think to me is important to know, well, what am I going to learn today? Yes. And that's one of the things that I like marketing because it's exciting. It's like a puzzle. Mm-hmm. What excites you about marketing?
Yeah, I like the strategy, like you said, finding the gaps, putting the pieces together, making it cohesive, making it beautiful. That's what lights me up about marketing.
I think it sometimes is a puzzle because you might have to experiment, and people have to realize that. How do you always know what ad will work best? Do you?
Definitely not. You're going to have to test it. It's sometimes what you think is, I always say one of my best ads was not even my beautiful high-end production with the great camera and all that. They were the ones at my desk, just simple computer, it wasn't even the highest quality video, right? But it was the message that resonated. So you absolutely need to test, see what your market likes, test video, test audio, test, written, see what people are drawn to. and then do more of that.
Jessica, one of the themes of my podcast, your uniqueness is your superpower. How would you bring that into people business? What are the couple of things that they can start infusing in their daily life to support their business from uniqueness?
Well, I love that. Your uniqueness is your superpower. So, sometimes we get distracted. Like, what are all the different kinds of businesses we could do? How many millions of ways can I help someone? But your unique genius is unique. So what is the thing that you do best, and how can you take that and find an urgent need in the marketplace? That's what you should build your business around. Don't get distracted. Don't try to be the Jack or Jill of all trades and get caught in the trap of the generalist, but get specialized, get focused, find out what you do best, and then find the need. And that's where you build your business around, because you'll always have clients if you can do that.
That's great. Do you feel like initially people might need to experiment who is the ideal clients for them, who is their niche, before they determine for sure?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you realize like, oh, I don't want to work with this type of client anymore, or this industry, I really don't like it. So in the beginning, you are going to have to try out different things to see where you get traction, but you can't stay in that place if you want to grow. You are going to have to narrow it in and get focused in order to grow.
So someone that's starting out and maybe making the first 10K or 20K, they may have a couple of niches. They may have narrowed down, but in order to scale, they will have to choose the path.
Correct.
Well, okay. Well, I think it also depends where they are in their journey. If they already,
True.
Yeah, then it will make a difference what they do. But it's always, I love how you said that being generalist, you're not gonna be able to scale as much as if you focus in one area. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's hard to be viewed as an expert if you're a generalist, right? And it's like, oh, I can do anything. Well, Jack or Jill of all trades, master of none, right? And am I going to go and pay someone a lot of money who's a generalist, or am I going to pay someone who's like, I'm an expert in this one thing? I'm going to go for the expert every time.
It's like in medicine. If you have a problem with your heart, you're not going to go to generalist. You will go to cardiologist.
Yes, and that generalist is going to know. He's like, this isn't my place. Let me refer you to Barbara. She's an amazing cardiologist, right?
Yeah,
they know their business well.
Or that's why we have all those specialists. And people, I think, sometimes forget. And it's the same, how there is so much correlation between the health and the business. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Because they're solving that specific problem. They focus on one area of the body. It's the same with the business. You're focusing with one problem, with that particular problem in your business. I love that. Right. What is your definition of success?
Success is being able to work with the types of clients I want, when I want, and have really impact, income, and time, money, freedom.
To me, being able to have the same thing, freedom of time and freedom of location.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being able to impact as many people as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what do you think people should do if they're really stuck to the point that they're like, I don't know, there are so many coaches, so many consultants. How would they know which one is the right for them? Do you feel like they need to have do a research? Do they need to get on the call, ask a lot of questions?
All the things. I mean, one, if you have friends that can give you referrals, that's always nice. Two, find a coach who specializes at your level. Like for me, I don't help coaches get to 10K months, right? Like that's not could I help them? Yes, but that's not what I focus on anymore. So you would want to go for that person. Like if that was your goal, hire them. Don't go hire a guru, who is helping people, scale from 7 to 8 figures. So go hire someone where it makes sense, do some research, get referrals if possible, check out their testimonials. Have they helped people just like you with the same problems that you have, get the results that you're seeking, and then absolutely have a conversation, make sure that you're in alignment in terms of not only challenge solution, but values, personality, the types of support you're going to have, and then make a decision based on there.
Great. What's next for Jessica?
What's next for Jessica? It's more of the same, I'm really have a solid business model. So this year I'll be helping more clients to grow their business, traveling, spending time with my daughter. I'm very happy with the business and life I've created, and grateful every day that I get to do what I do.
That's awesome. That's how we all supposed to live.
Yes.
Jessica will be our inspiration now. That's how we're supposed to live our life.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else that you want listeners to know? How to reach you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely check me out at jessicayarbrough.com. Follow me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. Let me know you heard me on the show. And check out my website for lots of awesome resources.
Favorite books that you will recommend for anybody?
I do like that book for if you're struggling, especially with systems and trust and consistency. I think Atomic Habits is a great read for most entrepreneurs.
And a bonus question: how do you think the world will look in 10 years?
Oh, goodness. Honestly, I have no idea. I just feel like with the advances in technology, things are happening really fast. So I think the movies are probably a good predictor. Hollywood seems to have an insider knowledge into how the world will be created. I hope it will be good and beautiful. And I hope that we find more peace, because I want that for my daughter.
That's great. And to sum it up, you need to have a good quality product and find the experts so they help you to create the system so you can scale your business. How would you sum up our conversation?
Absolutely. Find your genius, build a business around it, get the help you need, and execute.
Awesome. Execute. Don't forget, that's the work you have to do every day. Enjoy it, because it's not always destination, it's the journey. You have to enjoy it every day.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Jeannie.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate your wisdom and your experience, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for spending time with me on this episode. My biggest takeaways are that starting with experimentation and narrowing down to a focused niche is essential for growth, as well as specializing and expertise are key to being viewed as an expert and attracting clients. What were your takeaways? I'd love to hear them in the comments below. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share for more adventures in marketing and growing your small business into a renowned enterprise. Until next time, see you!